Would ask all that can stand to rise for the pledge, please.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we get the roll call, please?
Yep. Pete Kildaris.
Present.
Justin Nestor.
Present.
Joe Gomestagel.
Present.
Bob Valoy.
Here.
John Gill is here. Town Manager Bill Manasopoulos.
Here.
Town Attorney Adam Decker.
Here.
Town Engineer Jonathan Dykstra.
Here.
With that, we have a quorum. Item 4 on the agenda, minutes. First is the March 2024 Plan Commission regular meeting minutes. I assume everyone has had the chance to review those. Any questions or comments by the commission? There being none, I would entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Mr. Valoy, second by Mr. Gomestagel. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries 5-0. Next, the April 3rd, 2024 Plan Commission Study Session Minutes. Same for those, if there's any questions or comments relative to those. If not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Nope.
Motion by Mr. Valoy, second by Mr. Gill. Any further questions on the minutes? If not, all in favor of approving them, so indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. Item number 5, public hearings. First up, Section A, 2024-06 Franciscan Alliance. This is the continued public hearing for the proposed preliminary plat of Franciscan Health St. John Medical Center located on the east side of Highway 41, approximately 975 feet south of the intersection of 101st Place and US Highway 41. Mr. Weiser.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Plan Commission. I'm Attorney Jim Weiser with offices at 429 West Lincoln Highway in Cherville, and I'm the representative of the project, and I have with me the project manager, Maggie Tortolano. I recognize this is a continued public hearing, and because of the nature of where we're at, you were unable to hear any comments from the public last time. So we'd welcome comments from the public and respond. The only other thing, I know the engineers have been diligently working, and when I say engineers, our engineer who's on with us virtually, Connor Strange, and Jonathan Dykstra. I think there's still a few unfinished items. I think they're getting close, but I think there's a couple of unfinished items which we would be happy to discuss as well. And I leave it to your discretion if you want to hear from members of the public first, or if we want to kind of get into the engineering discussion, if we could. It's whatever you think is appropriate.
I did have a chance to go back and look at the study session from the 3rd, and I guess I'll defer to Mr. Dykstra a little bit as far as where things stand from the town's perspective on the engineering.
Yeah, we have a couple outstanding letters. One was the engineering review. I believe it was dated April 3rd, and then there was what we call a SWIP review, the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan review. That letter was also dated April 3rd. That's outstanding. And the comments in that were minor, but the engineering, there's a few items. And on the plat survey itself, there was a couple items. And I did get some correspondence today by email from the engineer. They were survey questions. I passed them to my surveyor. He provided responses. I did send them back. And so we've been in communication, like Jim says, throughout. So I expect that they would be close to responding to those. So
Is that the same barriers to having this go through at this point?
yeah, nothing's really changed comment or letter wise for the most part. Yeah, we're expecting a formal response to those letters, so which would include a comment response from them and any changes that would be needed on the plans.
It gets back to the same concerns of conditional approval of this, right?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you, I don't think we'd be necessarily looking for a conditional. I think I'm confident that by next month, all of that would be worked out and resolved. So I think what we'd like to see is for the public to get heard tonight, so that they have an opportunity, if there's any interested parties that would like to speak about it, and maybe Connor, our engineer, can confirm, or I'm sure he will, and respond to Jonathan, and then I think we'd then be ready for a hopeful consideration of a formal and final approval on the primary subdivision request in May. Because we know there's outstanding issues now that a conditional approval on a subdivision plat is not what we're looking for, or what I think is, at least in my perspective, what would be appropriate. Appropriate would be approval once all that engineering is determined and decided. And I know we're close. We just a few comments away, I guess I would say.
Even if
Yeah.
it's conditional, you're not able to start working yet, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
right. I would agree that they're close, so when he says that by May, the remaining items should get resolved, I think that that's accurate from my working with their engineer. Yes.
Yeah, and that's our belief as well.
And, Mr. Decker, would it be appropriate to, again, continue the public hearing to the extent that we've held it open from the March 20th?
Well, that's really up to the discretion of the board. I think that last month, the board, or the Plan Commission, I should say, rather, was still going to receive additional information, particularly with regard to the engineering review. And I think it was determined last month that it would be appropriate to allow the public to make comment at this month's meeting after some of that additional information had been received. So I think tonight, certainly the public hearing has been continued. I would recommend that you open the meeting for any public comments. I think the Plan Commission could close the hearing if there are no comments. To me, it's unlikely that there would be public comments on the particular comments and additional items that John and Mr. Weiser have alluded to. So I think it's really up to the discretion of the Plan Commission whether it wants to hold open the public hearing to next month or wants to close the public hearing. Just to add to Mr. Weiser's comments, I would agree that it would not be appropriate to give a conditional approval pending this additional review. I think the Plan Commission should defer any decision on the vote for preliminary plat until next month after that has been completed.
And I guess that's where I was going. I mean, I'm in favor of opening it for public comment to the extent anybody might be here to speak. And I'll let the rest of the commission chime in if they'd like to as well, with the understanding that
There will be no action taken.
at least
Yeah.
until May.
Yeah, and we agree with that.
Okay.
So I'll
With that.
step aside and.
With that, we will open public comment for 2024-06, the Franciscan Alliance continued public hearing. At this point, if any members of the public would like to come up, speak for or against the project, you're more than welcome to do so. I would just ask that you state your name and address for the record. That's the first call. Second call for any public comment. And I'll give it a third and final call for any public comment. There being none, we will close public comment for the hearing on 2024-06. Do we need a formal motion to further continue this hearing?
Yes, as was done last month, I think if the Plan Commission wants to continue to have the hearing held open to allow comment next month, I think it would require some type of an affirmative vote to do so, to hold the hearing open to next month.
To
But
avoid
again-
having them to renotice and do everything, right?
Correct, yeah, correct. So but that's really, again, I think in my opinion, the fact that there was no comment tonight suggests that there probably would not be comment received if the hearing's held open next month. But that's really to the discretion of the Plan Commission.
I'd be inclined to allow for public comment next month if we come back as well. I don't want to foreclose that. So, any questions, comments from the panel?
None?
There being none, at this point, I would entertain a motion to continue the public hearing until I don't have the date, what's the May?
I believe it's the 15th, but I'm not certain.
May 15th or whatever the next May regular meeting of this commission would be.
Yeah, May 15th. I'll make a motion to defer the Franciscan Alliance public hearing to the next regular meeting, May 15th, keeping the public hearing open.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Vloy. Any further comments, questions on the motion? There being none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll see you back next month, Mr. Weiser. Thank you. Next, under public hearings, is item B, 2024-02, Suncrest Christian Church. This is a proposed rezone from R2 PUD. The town was advised today by the petitioner that there were issues with the notice requirements that had been sent out. Based on that, they asked that it not be considered for the public hearing for tonight. So if anybody came out, we do apologize for that. They will be following the requirements for renoticing that hearing, presumably at that next meeting on May 15th, but we'll have to see what they're ready to do at that point, I would think. And with that, that is all the public hearings. Item on the agenda number 6, old and new business. First, item A, 2024-07, The Grove, proposed rezone to PUD for proposed mixed-use development of single-family and multi-family homes, 8408 West 101st Avenue, St. John, Indiana. Olthoff, Mr. Pasco.
Good evening, Kevin Pasco with Olthoff Homes, 8051 Wicker Avenue, St. John, Indiana. I'm here tonight for our third PUD rezone meeting for The Grove, our new residential project. So I last appeared at the April 3rd meeting to give an update on the last few items that we needed to submit in the PUD ordinance and to run through any updates from the March 20th meeting. At this point, I really only have very minor changes to report from the last meeting since there were no comments. So we've updated our concept plans, phasing exhibit, and landscape plans to match our latest lot layout that was presented last meeting. So all of those plans are now current. And all of that was also incorporated into the PUD development plan document as well. Otherwise, that's about it in terms of any changes that have taken place in the last 2 weeks on documents or plans. With the well site, Bob informed me yesterday that he was out today and they'll be out tomorrow drilling, and then they'll start test pumping on Friday,
Yep.
weather dependent. So
Correct.
is there anything else to add to that, or is that still the case?
No, they started drilling today. They're down to 240, 250, so,
I saw him out there. I saw the
Halfway
truck out
there.
there when I was on my way here.
yes,
So.
yes.
Okay. So with that, I'd like to request to advertise for the May 15th public hearing, and I'd be glad to take any questions or comments or to go through any documents that we submitted.
When we were last here, there were certain items that were not submitted. Have we cleared all that up at this point? As far as the subdivision, I think there was some things within the subdivision control ordinance that we needed to have.
There were a handful of items within the PUD ordinance that were submittal requirements. Since the last meeting, they have been put in there, and I highlighted those in the last meeting as well. The architectural standards are now included in the PUD development plan. House styles are included in there, as well as a handful of elevations for each floor plan that we have for our normal single-family villa and paired cottage model. And then, as part of our engineering plans, the specifications for the lighting is also included in that now.
Justin, I know you were on vacation. Were there specifics that you wanted to ask? Did you have some specifics that you wanted to ask?
I don't know if I have specifics on it. I'm anticipating, if you're back here next month, some of the questions that we are going to be tasked with by members of the public who come up. And I know that there's one letter I believe, that have been submitted already, questioning, and some of the questions I have relate to density of this project. I mean, full disclosure, I live in the Gates. I come out of this, where this is gonna, this is right, you're my neighbor coming in. And I agree conceptually that, as far as the comprehensive plan goes and, what's the best use for that area, I don't have any problem with that. It just seems that this project is, it's really dense. There's a lot of units in there, and I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. I live in the Gates. It's a mixed use. It's a PUD.
Right.
I don't have any problem with that either. I get that. It's just I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and that everybody's on the same page. You're ready to go when members of the public come in here and start firing off, saying, how many lots are there? How does this compare to? I was making some notes. Other ones like Mill Creek, as far as lot size, right? It seems to me that the R2 lots are a little small compared to some other developments. And I get that, and I think that that's something that we just need to work through and make sure that we, ultimately, this panel is good signing off on that, because ultimately, it's for the town council, right? We can punt and we can push you through, and if they want to approve it, then it's up to them. But as, this body is the fact finder and trying to make a recommendation and give information to the town council, I need to make sure that we've done what we need to do, too. So, those were some of the concerns that I had. It's not conceptually about the project, like I think that, it's what should go there, right? And it's, with the nature of what the land is, it's within the town's comprehensive plan. There's not any questions about that. It's just, if we're letting, you come in and write your own development in there, what's the nature of that? And how's it gonna affect people around? Because like I said, I just pulled out at that one house that's sitting there right in the end. I just pulled out. I pull out there, 10 times a day coming through there. And what happens when there's 300 more houses in there with, cars that, in traffic and things like that? And how are we making sure that we've best planned that? Because that's our job.
Right.
So. Any questions, comments? I kind of stole the floor there, so.
I thoroughly agree with you.
So I guess we'll be back for the study session next, right?
Yeah.
That'd be the next step, and then, if we're okay with having you put on for the May 15th meeting, then you'd have to go out and advertise that, or they have to do that before?
Well, so, yeah, Mr. Chairman, just a point. So it would probably be too late to give authority or agree to allow the applicant to prepare and issue notice, public notice, for the May 15th notice, or May 15th regular meeting, because of the, restrictions and the time limitations with which notice has to be mailed out to owners, has to be published in the newspaper, and advanced planning for all that. So if, I think what the applicant has requested is permission to proceed to plan to present the public hearing at the May 15th regular meeting. And so the applicant would need to know tonight, rather than at the study session in May, whether he can do that. So if the Plan Commission does not want to proceed with the hearing on the 15th, that should be made known to the applicant. Conversely, if the Plan Commission is agreeable to allowing him to proceed with the public hearing on May 15th, that should be made to him tonight as well. Because there's not enough time between the 2 weeks prior to that meeting when the study session's on.
And anything that we still can review in that time period up until the study session, we still have time to make some changes also, if we see, if we see it before we approve everything else.
Okay.
And I do understand your comment, at least in terms of trying to have some sort of a response between now and the next study session. I mean, you've expressed your concern being the density, but in terms of how would you would like us to respond to that? That sort of didn't come through in your answer.
Yeah, I guess what's the proper channel to do that? I don't know if that's a conversation with the town manager or.
So I think we can get together and go over your concerns, and then we can call Althoff in.
That's fine. And with that, I don't have any issue with, going forward and, allowing to advertise and be put on for May 15th. Again, with the same caveat, like, I'm just trying to prepare for what I anticipate might happen at that
Right.
hearing and make sure that, we're prepared, you are prepared, and the public is prepared to ask their questions and know that we've done what we're supposed to do. That's my point in raising that.
And I think historically with PUDs, when we've kind of allowed smaller lots and/or a little more density than we'd normally see in a subdivision, we've kind of required the applicant to use a higher architectural standard, such as nicer siding or more windows and things like that. So, I mean, I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, we would entertain any suggestions from the board, definitely.
But that still doesn't address the density issue that perhaps they could work on. All I'm trying to figure out is that if you come in on May 15th, whatever month it is, that you're not bombarded, but at a study session, we can look at it and then perhaps move it to June, which would be a little bit better unless there's a sense of urgency on the developer's part to get this thing rolling right away.
Well, Joe, even if they advertise for May, we could defer it if there's still things left open, just like we did with Franciscan.
And I do agree with you. I think what would happen is that you're going to get the majority of the people, or anyone that wants to speak for or against it, are going to get tired. They're just moving this meeting around for us to come up and talk to them, or express ourselves. And that, I do understand what happened with the Franciscan, but this is just something that we're having issues with this type of development.
Right. But I mean, I was just saying, if they do advertise for May, it doesn't mean that we have to make a final decision at the May meeting.
And if
Go ahead.
if they want to have their hearing in May, if, we have certain concerns as a commission, we might have, an unfavorable recommendation that goes up to the town council. Ultimately, it's the town council's call though, too.
Yes.
Right? We could punt. We could say, have your hearing and we don't agree, and you're off to the town council and you got to take your chances with them, too.
Right.
I'm just trying to make sure that you're best poised to
Yeah.
get to that step, that's all.
Yeah, we obviously wouldn't want to be in that sort of a position either. I mean, we'd rather work all that out right now, I mean, as best we can, obviously, before we get to that step, so, yeah, that's what, that's what the study session's for, present new information, and then any concerns, that's what we'd like to hear, and then revise as necessary, but,
I think we can continue to have the dialogue, try to work through things, allow them to, advertise for the hearing on the 15th. You can always withdraw it if you're not ready and you don't want to proceed, or we proceed and we see what happens. And if we make a determination then, allow the public to comment, or if we have to, we'll continue it at that point. But that's kind of where I'm leaning at this point. With that, I think we probably need a motion to allow them to advertise and be placed on for a public hearing on the May 15th, 2024, next regular meeting.
I'm sorry, you were looking for a motion to allow them to, for the public hearing? I didn't hear that.
Correct, to advertise and be placed on the agenda for a public hearing.
Okay.
At the May 15th, 2024, next regular meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that then.
Motion by Mr. Vloy, second by Mr. Gill. Any further comments, questions on this topic? There being none, all in favor of the motion, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 5-0. Carries, and we'll see you back.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Item B, 2024-09 Arcadia Phase 2, proposed amendment to the site plan to remove 2 units and increase the parking by 16 standard spaces located at 10081 Wicker Avenue, St. John, Indiana.
Good evening. I'm Chris Badger with Badger Engineering, located at 9830 Suite D, Carmel, Indiana. And we're here to answer any questions. And I did get one comment letter from the engineer, and working on getting a solution for that. It was in the, he's concerned about maybe a ponding spot at the entrance. So if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So this is just a work in progress, I assume?
It
as
was
far
a
as-
pretty much a minor grading issue, and I think we're gonna, it's just the difference between the entry slope. If you notice that site, it's fairly steep, and we were trying to bring, with the new parking, the water to the front, but that's in the opposite direction. So we're getting a grade differential, and they're looking at a different solution. So as soon as they come up with that, we'll send that over to John.
Okay.
I think we're all set. They've got construction equipment out there now doing the parking lot that was not done in phase one. And they're, I just went out and checked it. Everything looks really good. So I don't see an issue with the parking lot.
And did they eliminate those services?
They will be, but nothing's been done utility-wise yet.
Please have them reach out to the Public Works when they do that, would you please?
I'll take care of that next week.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think we're all set.
Do we need a vote or anything? We're good? I guess it's already been approved plan, but we just are here to coordinate that, or is there a vote required?
Need a motion to amend?
We would need a
Yeah, we need a
motion to
motion to
accept the
amend.
amended site plan.
Yeah, we'd ask that the amended site plan be approved.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the proposed amendment to the site plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Valoy, second by Mr. Gonstagel. Any further comments, questions on the motion? If not, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, they're all set. Thank you. Item C, 2024-10 Ravenwood Business Center Phase 2, Lot 1, proposed amendment to the site plan requesting waiver of the ground-mounted transformer at 10103 Earl Drive, St. John, Indiana. Planet Fitness.
Hi, good evening. This is Nikki Schultz. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
This is Nikki Schultz. I'm with Bose McKinney and Evans, and I represent
Maybe you got to
Planet Fitness
I don't know.
in St. John. We are here to advance to you we attended the the study session on April 3rd, and we are here to request that you consider our revised site plan, which amends the original site plan to allow for a pole-mounted transformer instead of the ground-mounted transformer, because the providing utility code has provided you and us with 3 separate letters indicating that they are unable to secure a ground-mounted transformer. We presented that revised site plan at the study session, and we had originally been required to use a surety of $16,560, and we are requesting that the site plan be amended and that the surety for that ground-mounted transformer be released, and that there be a recommendation to the town council to release that surety. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I think that you've been provided with all of the supporting information and documentation, but happy to answer any questions.
So, John, this is the one with the
Yeah.
transformer, correct?
Yeah, basically, when they built Planet Fitness, they came before us and they gave us a site plan with a ground-mounted transformer that NIPSCO supplies. Well, and as they were building it, NIPSCO didn't have a ground-mounted transformer, so they set a pole in the parking lot and put a pole-mounted transformer on there. And so we collected a surety to ensure that at a later date, when the ground-mounted transformer became available from NIPSCO, that they would switch it back. And if they didn't switch it back, we would have the monetary bond to do so under our, since it didn't fit with the site plan, and we would give occupancy and let them use the building in the meantime. And NIPSCO has since given letters stating that the town can't enforce the requirement for the ground-mounted transformer, and that they've basically supplied the petitioner with power and they're not willing to change it now. So since NIPSCO has the proprietary part that they need to do this and they're unwilling to cooperate, we would need to grant them a waiver from the ground-mounted transformer, accept the amended site plan, and then make a motion to the town council to release the surety in the amount of $16,560. So that's what they're here for tonight.
Any questions, comments? So, I mean, it seems to be that they're kind of
They're kinda-
hamstrung by
yes.
By
another
NIPSCO.
agency. They have the power, so the electric hookup that they need, and so they don't need any, they just need the site plan changed and then get the money back that was put in surety for that, right?
Right.
Okay. Questions, comments from the panel? With that, I think there's probably two motions that we would need here. I think the first would be, Chair would entertain a motion to, for the amendment to the site plan for waiver of the ground-mounted transformer.
I'll make a motion to grant a waiver for the ground-mounted transformer at 10103 Earl Drive and to accept the amended site plan as it is built today.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Valoy. Any further questions, comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Second, would entertain a motion for a recommendation to the town council for release of the performance surety in the amount of $16,560.
I'll make a motion to recommend the town council release the performance surety in the amount of $16,560.
Motion by Mr. Gill, is there a second?
Second?
Second by Mr. Caleres. Any further questions, comments on the motion?
Gil, could you explain to me why we need to return that back, 60,000? I don't quite understand it.
They gave us that money, they gave us that money as a surety that if they didn't do it, we could use the money to do it. Well, now, even if we keep the money to do it, NIPSCO's not gonna give us the proprietary piece of equipment that we would need to do it.
Right now,
So, no matter how much money we have, it seems that NIPSCO's unwilling to give us their proprietary piece to the puzzle that we would need to run the power underground and set the green vault on the corner of the lot, like it was
Basically
in
penalize them if we don't give them the money back.
Right.
Okay.
okay.
I think, so the motion that was pending was recommendation to the town council for release of the performance surety, the amount of $16,560. That was a motion by Mr. Gill. Is there a second? Oh, that's right, Pete hit that. I apologize. Okay, any further questions, comments? There being none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that one carries 5-0 as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item D, 2024-08, the Preserve Phase 7, proposed final plat for 29 single-family lots and 2 outlots at White Oak Avenue, zoned RC1 PUD, approximately 15.75 acres, Schilling Development.
Good evening, Kevin Hunt on behalf of Schilling Development, representing the owner for Reserve SJ. We're up for a final plat. We've got 29 lots in phase 7 of Reserve, these are some of the best lots that we've offered so far. So we're excited to serve that. We've paid our fee. We believe that any hearing letter has been provided to the plan division.
Hot off the press today. From an engineering standpoint, Mr. Dykstra, are we okay? or-
Yeah, we're good. The plat was good. Everything's been built. We are planning a final inspection, but with no known unfinished items that would pertain to the maintenance bond, which would be a second step. Sometimes they're presented on one night, but tonight it'll just be the first step, so, which would be approval of the plat.
Questions, comments from the commission? being none, I assume you want to come back in May, at that May 15th date?
We'd ask for.
He needs a motion. Yeah, he needs approval for final plat.
I was pretty aggressive. I brought the Mylars for signature, so I was hoping.
Yeah, if I might add, there were no further comments pertaining to the plat. We had cleared the plat, so that is the
Yeah, I
nature
think all the
of
improvements are in
the
and
approval
everything,
letter.
so.
Okay.
Or satisfactory
All right.
letter.
Okay.
Without any further questions or comments, then I would entertain a motion to approve proposed final plat.
I'll make a motion to approve the final plat for the Preserve Phase 7.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Gomstagel. Any further questions, comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor, so indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now you're all set. Thank you. Item E, Meta Wall Street LLC, a four-lot subdivision located at 9117 Patterson Street, St. John, Indiana. Mr. Hunt?
Kevin Hunt on behalf of Schilling Development. This is brought back only for concept plan and to give you guys another look at this. We still would have to come in for preliminary plat, unplat, site plan approval for this specific use, senior housing, but we'll just give you guys another opportunity to take a look at this project, see if you have additional comments. I know PUG continues.
C2 and then US 41 overlay,
Anyone have questions, comments? This one we'll see you back on next time then, right?
I'm not sure how quickly we're gonna be back, we still need to get all the engineering finished.
Yeah, no motion needed. That's
Whatever next time is. How about that?
We won't be coming back, hearing, but, if there are any comments, obviously those to go through on staff. We'll take those and do those back to, on our side of the development and also, proposed owner and senior.
Okay. Thank you. Item F, St. John Commons LLC, letter of credit extension, requesting an extension of the revocable standby letter of credit number CL 7651 LC in the amount of $558,933 to May 3rd, 2025.
I don't think Mr. Lambert's here. He had a letter of credit for that amount that was set to expire, and we were getting him back here to file for an extension. But I know we talked to him last week, and he said he'd be here, but his banker was on vacation. So I don't know if there was an issue there, but we'll just continue him to next month then.
No action taken on item F. That concludes all old and new business. Item 7, public comment. If there's any members of the public who'd like to come up, sir, please come up. Just give us your name and your address.
Doug Boffer, 10591 Beautiful Lane, St. John. I just want to raise a concern that I've been seeing with all the R2 PUDs coming in, the lot sizes. I'm glad you brought up regarding the rules tonight, but, R2 is a hard to wide lots. And every jump I get seen coming in is 60-foot wide lots. And 70-foot wide lots. I think guys need to figure out, okay, what's the engineering extent? My mind is there's a lot of 8-foot wide, better. And up from there. The duplexes, I mean, you just pop up and say, oh yeah, now we need duplexes. In the case of Grove, I'm saying, we talk about density. Well, if you look at his density, actually where he's building, it's pretty high. You know, when he bought the property, he knew that there's floodplain on it, he did the due diligence, he knew he had floodplain. If you pay full price per acre for this floodplain, they're nuts. I'm sure he got a real good deal on because of the floodplain that's there. And you would have already figured out how many lots you could get on to it. But now he just tramped
more and more in. You know, you eliminate the lots on the west side of the creek. Oh yeah, now we just put more duplexes on the east side. You know, that doesn't make sense. So I think you guys really need to look harder as far as what size standards are you gonna take? I mean, I don't see an 80-foot wide lot in here. They're 70, 60, your duplexes are probably what, 45-foot wide? Some of you guys gotta really think about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the public who'd like to come forward? Once, going twice. With that, item 8, adjournment. Would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Blois,